Or not one, not one.
And we're live. Here we go. Well, hey everybody. Happy Sunday. It is Logic Live around the world today. I see BJ is saying good evening and John Ag is saying good morning, and I'm going to wish you all a good afternoon. And it's great to be back. It's been a minute since I've done a Logic Live. I want to thank Amanda and Jeff. Their shows were absolutely fantastic, and they've got more in the schedule coming up later. Well, just coming up later. So welcome to Logic Live, everybody. This is Logic Live 97. Let's see who's here already. We got Michael Landon is here. Hello, Rex. Hello, Jan is here. Mark Wellington is in the house. And thank you, David, for acknowledging the lighting. I fiddled with that for a little while, but not nearly as long as Randy spent setting up his shot for today. All right. Thank you very much, Jeff. This is great because not only is this the first Logic Live I've done in a while, it's the first Logic Live I've done since I switched computers. And so basically anything that could go wrong will possibly go wrong. We've increased the likelihood, or at least the possibility that that might happen. I'm so happy that you're all here. It's great to be back with you all on a Sunday. Logic Live number 97. It's the Halloween show, starting right now. Hey, all right, that button worked. There we go. Hi, everybody. My name is Andy. Welcome to Logic Live number 97. I'm going to bring on my co-host for today. You know him. You love him. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Kyle. How's it going, Jeff?
Hey, great to be here. Happy Sunday. Happy
Happy
almost Halloween.
Sunday. Happy almost Halloween. Are you dressing up for Halloween this year, Jeff?
I'm dressing up as a Logic Live co-host.
Oh my goodness! How brilliantly
Yep.
executed.
Thank
I've
you. I worked
decided
hard.
to dress up as a 47-year-old man this year.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Well, it's an inside joke. I'm 48. So thank you very much for hosting Logic Live. Over the last couple of weeks, I thought the shows you and Amanda did were absolutely fantastic. And thank you for agreeing to be on today. I think this is going to be fun. Doing some shop breakdowns that are kind of Halloween themed. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good idea for the show. I'm happy to check the comments for you while you work, and we'll get through it all.
Yes, I'll be driving today. I'm very excited. All right, so let's get underway with the slideshow. This episode of Logic Live is brought to you by AJA together with Flame since 2006. And we want to welcome our newest sponsor, Hot Spring. Hot Spring is the future of VFX outsourcing. Hot Spring connects you to great artists to get your projects done, making it easier than ever to access the best talent around the world. You can find out more about them and get a bid at www.thehotspring.com. I've used them. They're great, and I highly recommend it if you're in the market for some extra help. Definitely give those guys, give them a shot. If anyone needs tech support, be sure to call Jack Horrocks, Jack at flametech.com.au. He's there for all your flame networking storage or custom build needs. Basically, if it ain't working, call Jack, and he'll get it working for you. Speaking of new and awesome things, we have a new discount code, a new Logic TV discount code from Boris FX. You can save 15% on any Boris FX product, standalone or subscription, when you use the code Logic-2022 at checkout. And we're going to be talking a lot today about our friends from Action VFX. I've been using their stuff like every day in the work I've been doing. I've been doing some TV show work and some spot work, and I've been using a lot of Action VFX elements. We've had them on the show. These guys are great, and they've given us a new affiliate link. So if you'd like to support Logic, and if you need anything from Action VFX, be sure to use the affiliate link listed below. And thank you guys at actionvfx.com. They got some really amazing stuff on the website. In fact, wait a minute. Is this button going to work? It is. Yes. If you just head on over to actionvfx.com and just check out everything that they have. Everything's broken up into categories. You can download previews of everything, and you can get the assets in ProRes, in EXR, all the way up to like 5 or 6K or even 8K, depending on what they were shot in. So bravo to those guys, and thank you for supporting what we're doing here at Logik Live. Also, they have given me a $250 credit to the store that I'm going to give away to some lucky viewer today at the end of the show. Moving on. While you're checking things out, check out the Logik merch store. The weather has turned. It's getting a little colder, at least in this hemisphere. And so you might need to stock up on some Logik sweatshirts, hoodies, hats. It's all there for you at the Logik merch store. I want to take a minute to thank all of our patrons on Patreon. We are up to 146 patrons with our newest ones. I think it was Chris Cabrera and Jared Pollock were our two new patrons from this past week. So thank you both, and I want to thank all of our 146 patrons. We could not do what we're doing here at Logik without your help and your support. So if you'd like to become a patron and support what we're doing here at Logik for as little as $5 a month, head on over to patreon.com/LogikTV and become a patron today. You know, before we get to the forum stats, I would like to bring on our my second guest host for today. You all know him, you love him. He's the hardest working man in show business. He's currently at an undisclosed location, but they at least have, dial-up internet there today. And we're very happy to have him join the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, the heart and soul of the Logik Forum, it's Randy McEntee, professional visual effects artist. How you doing, Randy? Oh my God, this is like the day I've been waiting for my whole life. Randy, you're muted. Oh, no, I'm muted. Okay, fine.
You're welcome.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine. What's going on?
I'm just excited to have you here, especially with the knowledge. Oh, wait, let me do a two-shot here. With the knowledge that this is the first show I'm doing on a new computer, and so I guarantee you anything will go wrong. But I know that I have your support. And that's what keeps me motivated, keeps me going, and that's how I know this is just going to be the best show ever. But how are you doing, Randy? Can you share where you are, or is that are you NDA'd up the wazoo?
I'm undisclosed location, working on an undisclosed advertisement for an undisclosed amount of per diem.
Excellent. Well, it's good to know that you have your color calibration chart. For all the viewers at home, if you want to make sure that Randy, you're seeing Randy as true and as genuine to how he looks, make sure you use the color calibration chart. We've thrown in some tracking marks just to make sure you can always track the shot, which is good. Because if I do this and change Randy's color temperature at all, you'll be able to get it back to where it needs to be with those charts. So thank you very much, and welcome to the show. Let's go back to the slideshow and show off your favorite part of the show, Randy. The forum stats for 2022. We're up to 1,223 users on the forum. That's up 12 from the last show. We've had 1.6 million page views this year, and that's up 162,000 just the last month, which is amazing. 12,200 posts, up 700 from the last show. And we now have 531 users on Discord, which is up 15. The traffic on Discord is exploding, and because I know because the notification sound is constantly playing somewhere in my house. So if you haven't signed up for Discord, please do. Randy has done a tremendous job in adding new channels and new features, and it's just become a wonderful place to connect with your fellow flame artists. Be sure to join the conversation on the Logik TV Discord by clicking the Discord link at forum.logik.tv. We introduced 3 new Logik Academy courses for fall 2022 a couple of weeks ago, and we're super proud of them. The first one is a part 1 of a 2-part series on the particle system from our friend Sinan Viral. You know him, you love him. He was, I think, guest number 2, or he was on the second Logik Live after we did the first one. He was just like, I want to come on and I want to show particles. So thank you, Sinan. This is absolutely great. Definitely check it out. It's full of just tips and tricks on how to get the most out of Flame's particle system. And then we have 2 new installments from our friend Randy. The first is called My First Linux Flame, and Randy helped me build my Linux Flame. So I'm telling you, the man knows what he's talking about, and he's got a heart of gold. And everything you need to know in order to put together your first Linux Flame is here in this video. It's not as hard as you think, and it's definitely a way to get the most bang for your buck if you're building your own flame. Randy also did one on the Logik portal, which is an absolutely beautiful gift to the community from Mike Vaglianti. It's a Python script you can install in Flame, and it gives you access to all the Logik Python scripts and some batch setups that have been donated by the community, a way to install the Logik Matchbox plugins. So definitely check out that if you have a chance. Those three join their friends, Connect to Conform, the Image Node Intro to NDI, 8-Minute Aces, Beauty Techniques in Flame, Setting Up PyBox, and the Machine Learning Time Warp. They're available all for free at logik.tv or on youtube.com/logiktv. And want to thank our friends at Autodesk for sponsoring Logik Academy. Speaking of Flame, which we talk about often on the show, 2023.2 is out. See, there it is. There's the first spelling mistake of the show. But 2023.2 is out. Definitely grab it. Check it out. And as a result, our friend Grant K has been on fire on the Flame Learning channel with a whole host of new tutorials that deal with the features in 2023.2. There's a new part 6 on the animation editor, the improvements to that. Amazing improvements in using multi-channel like EXR files and multi-channel files in Flame. Improvements on searching through batch. Things they've added and changed to the render and write file nodes. Working faster with automatic batch durations. And I know one guy who was absolutely happy that that change was in there. We'll mention him in a little bit. And customizing your UI with batch layouts. All of this is available on the Flame Learning channel on YouTube. Thank you, Grant K. We're going to try to get Grant on to take everybody through all those as soon as we can. All right, my friends. Like I said, this is the Halloween show. And I thought it would be fun to go through some shot breakdowns of some horror or action or kind of blood and gore shots that I've had the opportunity to work on in the last year. You know, a guy who spent like the first 25 years of his career doing beauty work and making people look perfect. You know, having to jump in and make people look not so perfect has really been a lot of fun. Have either of you had the opportunity to work on any of this kind of stuff with either action shots or blood and gore or anything that isn't like make it look better, you know?
Not me.
No?
Yeah, we've done all kinds of weird stuff. Pools of people and pools of blood and just all kinds of stuff that I hope my kids don't walk in on me when I'm working on it.
Right? Yeah, that's why it's important to have a lock on your door. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to share my Flame here. If anyone has any questions about any of the stuff, please be sure to put it in the chat. Jeff is going to keep an eye on that. And yeah, here we go. Let's dive in here. I'm going to see if the Flame button works. The Flame button works. All right. Since it's Halloween tomorrow, let's start off with this shot first. I have a few to go through, and I just got to get some of these. Okay. I worked on a movie that just came out called Blood Relatives. It's like a vampire comedy of sorts. And one of the things that I needed to do, one of the first shots I needed to work on was turn this woman's eye teeth into vampire fangs. And I saw the shot, and the first thing I asked was, did you happen to, because I saw in later shots in the movie, she had like an appliance in, or she had fake teeth in. And so I asked, did you happen to shoot a plate of this, with those fake teeth in, so I'd have something? And the answer was no. So that's okay, because that's what we do. We're flame artists, right? So let's take a look at the shot, right? So it was kind of an interesting shot in that we have a focus change, right? The teeth come out. We have this moment of like, her eyes change. She has like a reaction or a moment. That's when the teeth have to extend. And then she looks up and talks, right? And it's teeth, so there's lighting changes and all kinds of things. So I looked at this and I thought the best way to handle this would be to use what was filmed, was to try to use the teeth that were there and just use like extended bicubics to stretch them down. So let's take a look at the setup. First thing always after using Neat Video or whatever your weapon of choice is to remove the grain is stabilize. Stabilize. Oh, hold on, we have no LUT. Yada-da-da-dee. There we go. So I just did...
Hey, Andy, can you game up a little bit just so we can see it? Just game up a little bit.
Is
Thanks.
that better?
Perfect.
Cool. Whoop. Sorry. Okay. I just in the 2D transform node, I stabilized right here just to try to keep the teeth in one place. So that way, when I did my my extended bicubic work, I could kind of everything was kind of concentrated in one place and didn't move around too much. Let me hide this for later. And then the fun began. And you know how these shots go. They start small and then they kind of explode. But what I did was just made images around each tooth and traced the shape of the tooth, by moving the UVs, and then animated the teeth down, right? There were a couple of keyframes in there. And I was absolutely stunned at like how well it worked, like right out of the gate. Like anytime you do something like this, it's important to like look at it and figure out what's working for you and what's not working for you. And so like as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, it's getting a little bit of the gums in there. As you can see, they're getting warped down, but I can fix that later. And once the teeth do come down, I'm getting all the natural lighting changes, which is great, especially like as this tooth goes behind her, like her lip, it's getting a lighting change from that. And I was absolutely stunned to see that like without any modifications at all, like the talking worked, like it worked when she closed her mouth, except of course for when she closes her lips, because then the lips go down into like where the extended bicubics are, and you get like this beautiful image here. So again, I knew I had a good foundation to work with, and so I started here, and basically like I had to do. You can see in the whatever this is here, the time bar, that I had to make a few keyframes along the way. Just to compensate for the things that couldn't be stabilized away. And then I set about to clean up the mess. And for me, cleaning up the mess really was like going a frame before like these lips entered the extended bicubic stretch, and grabbing a still frame and then putting that still frame on top to make sure that it, to hide the lips coming down. I had to do that like in 3 different places here. And let's see. Yeah. Once I had that going, I think a little bit happens here, and then a little bit more happens further downstream. Yeah, okay, so you can see here, this is where I put in the still frames to cover up where the lips were coming in. And then later downstream, I'll get back to this in a second, but later downstream, I put I rotoed the lip back on top. So you end up with teeth that go behind the lip as they are supposed to go. And I just animated a little color correction so that the tooth got darker as it was being occluded by the lip. But there were a couple things along the way that I thought was going to help. The first was these teeth that I made here are fine, but they are a little flat, especially here. Like that looks like something was flattened out. And I just went ahead and tracked a little mat, or made a little mat here to kind of add a little highlight to the front of the tooth. I'll boost it for you a lot so you can see, but I was trying to give those flat images, those 2D images that I pulled down, a little dimension, right? And then let's see, put the teeth in. A little color correction on this tooth, because this one really was that's all the material I had to work with right there. And so the more I pulled that down, the more I flattened it out, the more two-dimensional and flat it looked. So I did a little bit of post-color correct on it. A little edge detect, and then a little edge blur, which really helped. Well, brace yourself, Randy. It really helped soften soften the sharp edge here, and help the tooth get integrated. And then the last thing that I did was right here, this little spot in the tooth right here, I brightened that up. Let me turn that back on, and I'll show you. Just with a little like front source. I just took this bit of the tooth and moved it over. And the reason why is if you look at the comp downstream here, right? There you go. Without it, like this is as shot, and I felt that, am I right? Yes. And I felt that this was just getting too dark. And so upstream at the beginning of the comp, I just front sourced a little bit of the tooth over to the right here, and that helped kind of balance out the teeth, and the color and the lighting. Um, and that is pretty much how I made a vampire. I
It
see
looks
that
great.
Brooks had a question. Oh, thank you, man. I see that Brooks had a
Yeah,
question about
Brooks had the question. He
stabilizing.
wanted to take a look at the 2D stabilize when you get a second. I think you showed that at the beginning, but maybe we can dive a little bit deeper into where you selected and how you how you got it.
Absolutely. Let's see if it remembered or if it's saved with the thing. Here we go. This is. Oh, and of course I'm in the 2D stabilizer, so um, I can't gamma this up or anything. What do I do? Hold on, let me see here. I guess I only did a 1 point stabilize. Yes, okay, I did a 1 point stabilize, and I just did it on the gap between her front teeth here. That was it. Yeah, and that was enough. That was enough to kind of lock that area in one place. And then, I had to compensate for the little bit of rotation that was going on by animating the extended by cubics a bit.
Sometimes you don't
Uh,
need to go too complicated to get the job done, huh?
amen, brother. Right? The simpler, the better.
Yeah.
And also,
John
like,
Egg wants to know. Oh, sorry. You can go.
oh, no, it's fine. I was just gonna kind of circle back with that and say that, like, I could have probably spent some time and tried to get like a rock solid 2 point stabilize, but I don't know that it would have taken me more time to try to get that than it took to just kind of nudge the keyframes a little bit as it went along. And yes, John, I was working on the raw plate. This was I want to say this was, well, I should be able to tell you somewhere. Hold on. I think this was red footage. If I remember, this was red. Like 3G10 or whatever it is. But yeah, I was working on the raw plate. And maybe the biggest challenge that I had in doing the shot was the timing kept changing. The rough cut. This is the rough cut here. Really, there's, there's nothing going on. So then once I put the teeth in and the director had a chance to see that, then that made him kind of change his outlook on things. All of a sudden, like I think the first version of this I had, the teeth kind of grew out like slowly, and then once they dropped that in the cut, maybe like what they had always envisioned was like more of like they come out like a switchblade, and that's what prompted like the actress to widen her eyes with her expression. So I had done all these keyframes to make everything kind of go smooth, and then the timing had to change and so on and so on. I mean, we adapt. That's why it's always important when you're building your shot to build it in such a way that you can change the timing if you have to, right, guys?
How'd you
Amen.
put the grain back on? Were you able to add it back on, or did you have to redo it since there was bright spots where there was once dark spots?
Great question.
Excellent question. I did do the old subtract noise and then add it. Did I bring the flame back on, or are you all looking at me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Looking
you're
at
good.
this. Okay, great. Thank you. I did bring I subtracted the grain to add it at the end, but I had a problem, and the problem was the teeth. Yes, things that were dark were now bright, and so on. And so I basically, I don't know if this is going to even show up. I did a
Yep.
patch. Yeah, I just took which way did I go? Down. I just took noise from here and just moved it down. You can kind of see it there, in
Oh,
the
so you
in
just
the
front
shape.
sourced the grain plate just to make a little area that was homogeneously grained.
Exactly. Yep.
Cool.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Good question. That was to me. I remember the first time I ran into that problem. I was like, "This grain thing is amazing. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to figure it." And then all of a sudden, it's like we can see ghosting of something in the comp when you put the grain back on. It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Then your VFX soup says you didn't paint it out, and you're like, oh, I did, and they're like, no, you didn't.
yeah, exactly. Yep. Or I still see a little bit of green or a little bit of blue or like whatever the dominant like strong green color was.
Yeah.
All right. So that's teeth. That's my vampire shot. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we can
Oh, you know
always
what might be
circle
nice,
back.
Andy?
Shoot.
When we're going through the list on YouTube, making sure there's no questions, can you just slowly pan through that batch schematic a little zoomed in, just one
Oh
more
hell
little
yeah,
time, so people can eyeball it at home? I always
absolutely.
wish we, I always
Someone
wish we
gave me
kind
a
of just
compliment for that. It was a nice setup, and I saw that go through the All right. So started out with my plate that
Yep.
got denoised, and then stabilized, uh, whitened the right little the fang, and then
Mm-hmm.
this was the animation of the eye teeth. What were down here are like, I think this was like the first time I did it, and the timing changed, and then the timing changed again, and so um, I didn't want to delete any of it because it all worked so well the first time that I was like, I just wanted to keep it in the setup, so it's in here, but I think those layers are all hidden.
Wait, what are you calling those teeth? You're calling them eye teeth?
Yeah, right. Eye teeth. Isn't that
Is
what
that
they
what they're
are?
called?
Incisors?
I don't.
I don't know.
Oh, eye friends. Okay, I was like eye
Yeah,
teeth.
yeah.
I got you.
Um,
I got you. I'm sure Jeff. I'm
totally.
sure Josh Lawrence knows the correct bodily
Nomenclature. That
nomenclature of all facial features and structures.
you know it, and that's because he does a lot of high-end beauty work, and not because of any other reason. Just want to clarify that for the audience at home.
I
Or
work
he comes
with
from a family of dentists or something like that, right?
I work with
Canines.
Josh, and I can
Thank you.
confirm this.
Richard Betts gets the applause here. Oh, look at that. Maybe it's correct. It's nice to see that written out every now and then. Hold on, I'm just gonna add that
Every
to the
now and
wall.
then, don't make a habit of
Yeah,
it. All right.
that's nice. No,
Moving on.
yeah, okay, no, I mean, it means a lot. I want to say just to,
Oh, for God's sakes.
yeah, okay. Um, moving on.
We'll derail this real quick.
Right.
Oh,
Uh,
that's all right. It's only 26 minutes in. We got you to cough and laugh at the same time.
that's
Full send.
good. That's good. That's good. I mean, the over under was I think 23. So somebody both lost. Somebody lost and made money. I got to work on another little like a horror short film where this is one of those things where like what you want to make is entirely up to you. And I love these tasks sometimes as the VFX artist. So I was given this shot of this guy here. Hold on. Like having a seizure, here like in a hospital room or something. And the direction that I was given was that like he's becoming like possessed, or either turning into a zombie or getting possessed by the devil. It was that kind of thing. And so what I wanted, I was able to do really whatever I wanted, which was absolutely like so much fun. This was shot with that camera that will not be named, begins and ends with an A, because there's stuff like during when we were doing the kind of like the pre-show, we kept trying to order things off of Jeff's Amazon account by saying that name out loud. But I went ahead and denoised this. And yeah, you're right, Richard, or I'm sorry, BJ, it is already like kind of like a freaky shot. But I was like looking at going like, what would be really cool? Like if like all the color drained out of his face, and the lighting changed. Like right now, like he's got highlights on his face. And so like if he was like dying or dead, if all the blood left his face, like, his face wouldn't have so much contrast, like that kind of thing. And then the eyes. I wanted the eyes to do like weird things. I wanted them to move independently from each other. I wanted them to roll behind his head. And then I wanted there to be like blood vessels, like just veins that like that come in. I don't know. There's always like that. That was what I saw. And, I watched some Walking Dead and things like that.
Did
And
you
then
look at
started,
yourself in a mirror when the cut was changed and there was no longer a lift?
that actually, if you know what, I should make a version of this where it's like, let's see someone die a little bit. Like here, you're going to see somebody die a lot, but every time that happens, like imagine 1% of what I'm going to show you. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's like for me when something I worked on, is killed like that. But, the first thing I noticed was, that, they did a good job putting some makeup on him. But like this guy hasn't like, been outside without a shirt on in the sun for probably 20 years. So I found that to be very distracting. So I cut a little mat for his skin here, and I just brought that down. I just wanted to bring this skin down to I didn't want this to distract from the face. So I had a feeling, Randy, that would absolutely impress you. Like, oh my God, how did you do that, Andy? Like that's amazing. You really truly are an inspiration to the community. But
Truly.
let's see. Truly. The first thing I set up to do was eyes, right? I wanted to have his eye, like I said, I wanted to have his eyes like roll around independently. So I looked at the cut and or at the shot and talked with the director, and they wanted the like transformation of this guy to happen starting around frame 50. So I went to frame 50 and then started to have some fun. Let's see here. Hold on. I should have labeled all this stuff. Oop, there we go. Yeah, so the first thing I did was I went into paint and I used the old brush tool and I'm sorry, the drag tool. And I painted out, it's 119. Hold on. There we go. And I got rid of his pupils and irises, right? Just to make something blank that I could use as like the base layer. Just a little color correction to balance those out so it didn't look like I had just used the drag tool to paint out like the pupils in his eyes. The old bilateral filter to kind of smooth out the paint strokes that had in there. And then I guess one last little color correct there. So I had a guy with like freaky, like just the whites of his eyes, okay? And then I set about, here we are at frame 50, to go ahead and make the pupils and irises for myself so I can animate them independently. So I took, I just rotoed like what was here and then flipped it, around 180 degrees or whatever. So I had one complete pupil and iris, and then set about cleaning up the mess. So, I painted out some paint strokes here. I think I cloned this over to there. Got rid of the highlights. These highlights are important. We need them, but like they shouldn't move with the pupil or iris. They should be a fixed thing, and then
Why should they be a fixed thing, Andy?
because the light isn't changing, and it's going to make them feel like they're moving under a glossy kind of. You'll see, you'll see. It makes it amazing. All right, so let's go here into eyes. So at frame 50, this is kind of like as shot, but if we go to frame 51, that's when my eyeballs and everything are. Hold on, da 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 dee. It was here.
Do you always sing show tunes when you're looking through your batch schematic?
Yeah, I do. Actually, it calms me down. Calms me down. Hold on. Oh, I'm moving the mask.
Did it again.
There we go. So yeah, right.
Oh, so it's just a little 2D X and Y thingy?
Yeah. So I have the pupil and iris separated from the whites of the eye. You saw me make those all upstream, and now I'm free to animate these anywhere that I want. And I had done. Oh, that's what I did down here. Down here, yada da da dee do. I made a little luma key and got, whoops, the mats for those highlights in the eyes. And I think I made a little compass for that. Yep. So here, I'll hide these little highlights for a second. But I went ahead and just did 2D animations for the eyes, right? And of course, put the eye socket or whatever back on top, and also added a little contact shadow too here, so it really felt like they were seated in there.
Could you zoom in like 10% just so we can see that contact shadow a little bit? Because
Sure.
it's hard to see it.
Yeah, like that.
Oh, nice.
And so I just have keyframe animations on those eyeballs there. On the, they're just the irises and the pupils, to kind of animate on their own in their own directions, and then just kind of roll under his eyes, right? And then just like before, I go ahead and make a little edge mat of the eyes and do a little blur to soften these up a little bit. Yes, Richard, you're absolutely right. That is a great feature of compasses in action, that you can hide everything as a group. And so what I had then was, I now have like his eyes just being all kinds of creepy and going away, right? The next thing was remove the highlights. So I went again with the drag tool and this really, really, really soft brush, and I just painted away those highlights that were on his face. I wanted his face to go really pale, and I did track motion vectors. That's down here, but I'll spare you guys the pain of having to track motion vectors. And so what I ended up doing next was tracking some masks here. Is that where they are? Yes, is tracking some masks like for the bags under his eyes, and then like on the center on his cheekbones, I tracked masks with really long gradients, and have a color correct attached to them that kind of animates on. And so what happens over time is, right, he gets these really deep, like a zombie would, like these dark hollows under the eyes and under the cheekbones. Okay. And then I wanted some, like I said, I wanted blood vessels, right? Like I wanted veins. So I turned to Sapphire Ultra Zap, and this I might have to brighten up a little bit, but I made myself a little piece of lightning here and just cranked up. I forget which one it is. It's one of these 6 pages where you can crank up like the number of branches. So there'd be a million little branches, right? And no, John, I didn't use any ML face mats for this. I just went ahead because of like the nature of his face move, how it was moving. Everything was already like was easy to track, and it was only one shot. If it was more than one, I might have gone a different route with that.
Also, would ML face understand an upside down human?
Oh, that's an excellent point. No, it probably would not. I would have had to have rotated this to be right side up so it matches like the data set it was trained on. So I took those sapphire zap, the lightning branches, and just duplicated them and kind of moved them all over and arranged them in patterns on his face, and then used G masks to kind of protect to isolate them so they would only be on his face. And I spit that out from this action just as a matte. And I was using that here with a color correct node. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. So what I ended up doing for the blood vessels is I multiplied this image over itself using the lightning, the blood vessels here, as a matte. And what I get is this.
Can you zoom in a little bit more for us, Andy? I'm also looking at the little eCam, so I got a hard time seeing it.
Yeah, no problem. So this was a still frame of the veins, the matte of the veins that is being moved by the motion vectors that I analyzed for the face. And so now you get these dark veins that travel across his face. And again, I kind of multiplied the image over itself so that areas that were lighter would be lighter, areas that were darker would be darker. And you get this like web of like just creepy veins that travel across his face, right, and move with it like kind of naturally.
That looks really cool. Can you go to like a frame, a still frame, and just bypass the veinage so we can see like on a still?
Like that?
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. The UltraZap. That's a really clever usage of that. I never would have thought to use UltraZap for that.
Yeah, it looks really great.
Yeah, nice random like shapes and patterns, and then where like the lines cross each other, they're a little bit thicker and a little bit thinner when they're not. Like really,
Yeah, that's cool. That's a nice.
tool.
That's really clever.
The next thing I did is this is a trick that I learned from Alex Arce, who invented A2 Beauty, right? And Alex showed me like when he was showing me A2 Beauty. Well, first of all, I wanted to use A2 Beauty on the guy's face. I just didn't want it to affect like the eyes or the mouth. So I did a key for the skin, which I went negative on, and then just put 2 G masks in here, one to really just to protect the mouth, and then fed that into a color corrector to kind of make his face more pale, right? So it's really just a desaturation here. And then the fun is A2 Beauty. I'll show you just like this is like the stock A2 Beauty. This is what A2 Beauty does, right? It kind of gets rid of harsh lines. It's that frequency separation magic. But there's an invert button here that like nobody ever uses, And what Alex explained to me was like, well, it would do the inverse. It would make someone look like if you're going to use A2 Beauty to soften hard edges, inverting it will do the opposite. It will make all the hard edges that much harder. And so
A2 ugly.
A2 ugly, damn it. And then I also so the same is true for recover amount. Normally, if you turn this down, it'll be blurrier. So if I turn this down all the way, the skin just gets like leathery and it brings out all like the chicken bumps. I mean, it's gross.
Bumps.
chicken skin bumps. So I did a little, inverse
That's funny
HUD
because
here.
I don't think I've ever seen that invert button.
Yeah, right? No one does. And there's also an overdrive here, which will make it worse, So I cranked up overdrive a little bit and then turned on this unconstrained detail search just so it would kind of pull from everywhere. As you can see, it's getting like terrible, but in a good way, right? And then the final thing, I faded that on. That's right. Yeah, that fades in over time. And the final thing was to do a little bit of a distort. The director really showed me some examples. I want to say it was from like an Exorcist movie or something like that, but where as the person like gets possessed, like their like face just distorts in like weird ways, And so my good friend and your good friend too, everyone's good friend, Alan Letary, who by the way just celebrated a birthday last week. So Alan Letary, wherever you are right now, all right, I want you to know, I want to wish you from your entire Logik family a very happy, I'm just going to turn off this image. I want to wish you a very happy birthday, and I hope wherever you are, and you're having fun, and I wish for you for this year that everything that isn't working for you in Flame, goes your way. Thank you very
Happy
much,
31st,
Alan, my
Alan.
friend. Happy 28th birthday, Alan Letary. God bless you. And now back to the show. Okay, so Alan showed me how to use the distort node in Flame, which in my 25 years of using Flame, I've never used, right? I remember when they introduced it and I was like, I don't understand this. I'm never going to use it again. And so I never did. But Alan showed me, and I'll show you because it's really like for like localized, morphing or warping. It's got some pretty cool features, but I'll take out a brand new node so you can see here that I'm actually using this. And
So you actually remember how to use it?
I did refresh my memory this morning, Randy. It's been a hot minute, but I guess the first thing to know about the distort node, and if Alan were here, he would definitely complain about this, and I don't blame him. Is like this is a
Well,
node
just
that has
do a
not,
really bad job, and then he'll come on a Logik Live next week and show us all how it's really
and
done.
how to do it the right way, right?
Exactly.
It hasn't been touched in a long, long time. So what Alan suggested is if you want to do any tracking, because you can do tracking, do it outside of action and then bring it in, or outside of distort and then bring it in. So for example, I'll show you here in the the full up one. I have an axis here where I did like a 2-point track on this eye. So that way these little splines that I drew near the eye would stay near the eye. I had to do that like in a GMash tracer node or something. And because this distort thing is so old, you can't like just, hold on. Yeah. You can't just like copy and paste an axis node. If you want to copy and paste tracking information, you have to go into the animation curves, right? And let me find the right one. Left eye, position, copy. And then I'd have to go here into my new, distort node. 1 second. Stand by. Whoop, there we go. Add an axis. And if I want the tracking data in there, like I can't right click on here and paste it. I can't paste an axis node in. I actually have to go into the animation curves and pick the position channel for that and paste. So it's really, really, really old school, but that's how you get like tracking data in here. But basically what you do is you go ahead and add a spline, right? I'll just go to the last, I'll go to frame 50. That's where this whole bit of fun starts, right? And I'll add a spline here under his eye, and I'll say finish. And then I'll add another one here, like in the hollow of the eye, and then I'll say finish. And that keeps these shapes both open. And now I will make them the children of this track, and they, of course, will be in the absolute wrong place. So let me move these back where they need to go. Right? And I'm going to add, yes. So now what I can do, like by default, the way a morph works is you have like these, you have two lines, a spline rather, a source and a destination. And the difference between the two is what gives you the morph. So I'm going to turn off, by default, link, source, and destination is on. I'm going to turn those off, right? So you have distort. Let me turn on auto key, and I'm on source here, and so I'll set a keyframe here at the beginning at frame 50. Hold on, yep. And here, a keyframe at frame 50. I'll go to the last frame, and I'll start to like warp this out, okay? And you can see it's warping, but it's affecting like other things too. So important note from our friend Alan is take your iterations and drop them to 1, and take the oh wait, I have to go back and look. Randy, wait, take the weight and turn it down to 0. And that will kind of contain or constrain the influence of these splines to, to be more like around the actual spline itself. Okay?
More regional or local.
Exactly. And so let me just animate the destination ones.
It's feeling like this distort node is just clearly a much more controllable extended by cubic. Because
Yeah.
extended by cubic, you don't really get to control, like it's just subdivide and unsubdivide, but this is like you get to choose exactly where it goes.
Exactly.
That's great.
And then the other kind of bit of magic here to this is adding other splines that you do not touch that will isolate and protect other regions. So let me I'll go back into the main distort here so you can see. But like there's a spline here for this guy's nose, and it doesn't animate. It doesn't have any changes to it at all. But if I hide it, if I hide it, come on, you. Let's see, hold on, where'd it go? There we go.
It's a family show.
I thought Andy, you're muted. What happened?
Sing a show tune, you'll figure it out.
Yada da 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 dee. Come on. It's a live show. This is
It
normally
wouldn't be a
when
live show if this didn't happen.
we would give away a prize or something. Oh man, how embarrassing, Randy.
Not for me.
Yeah, I know, right? You must be sitting there.
The only reason it isn't embarrassing for me is because I've never used the distort.
Yeah.
So I've never.
So I'll just do this here. I'll add myself
That's
a
fine.
brand new spline, and like around the nose, for instance. Close that up. Okay.
Oh, I
The
just saw it
same
pop
thing.
back. Okay.
Yeah. And so now I
Oh,
can
so it's
I
like
can
so it's like oh cool. So it's like no
whoops.
touchy. Like don't touch me.
Exactamo. So yeah, now I can
That's great.
I can adjust what's going on here, and it doesn't affect this area. So what I had done was a bunch of splines. So you can see like like these here were used to distort the eyes, but this kept like the upper eyelids stationary, And I also stretched out the mouth, but like these here around the nose and these here around the jaw kept protected
Protected.
these
Yeah.
areas here from the influence of those splines.
Yeah, that's
So
great because it's not like you're comping it back, which is what you would probably have to do with the extended by cubic. You're just protecting it, and it's intelligently just not affecting the area. That's really
right,
cool.
it's not getting influenced by those
Mm-hmm.
those splines.
That's
So
amazing.
I then inverted my stabilization, and so we had all the shimmy and shake. I put a little 2D transform node on. Oh, that's at the end. I'm sorry. The last thing was, everyone loves a good chromatic aberration. So I had a little sapphire blur channels going on here, and just used a soft, like a vignette, a matte here to kind of make a vignette of that. So that way, as the shot progressed, you had some fun little aberration going on the edges of frame. And then I did here, actually that's it. Converted it to Rec 709 and I guess boosted the color a little bit, maybe based on client feedback. But that right there is how I made that.
It's really well done. It's such a creepy shot. Very successful application of everything.
Oh, thank you. It was fun. We did a bunch. I think we did did I have them set up here? Yeah, we did a bunch of different versions of it. I think that was the first render. And then the second, yeah, here's 2, 3, 4. I think ultimately we went with 5. Yeah. So, there you go. Fun, fun, fun. I've got one more to show, and that is, uh, oh, well, what do you guys want to see? Do you want to see another thing like this, where there was some work done to the face, or something more with like blood?
Ooh, show
Randy?
blood.
All right.
Variety is good.
You know, they say it's the spice of life. Okay, so a couple of blood shots here, right? The first one is da da da. Another one of these monster setups of mine is I had this shot here of someone, gets their leg caught in a bear trap, which I mean,
Of
as one
course.
does, it happens,
Don't you
right?
hate when that happens?
Actually, I do. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but this is certainly something that annoys the hell out of me, right? So I went and found on Action VFX. I auditioned like their blood shots, right? So they had one called Large Gash. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting, That's got to be good for something there. This is stuff you don't get to use when you're working on like cosmetic commercials. There was one called Dripping Limb, which
Mmm,
kind
tasty.
of tasty. It has its merits. Small puncture, you know. But I ultimately went with a small puncture for the win. Right, small puncture was the winner. I took that, and I think I also took this one here called Blood Pool, which basically is a pool of blood. And I analyzed the motion vectors on the shot, right? Because there is, this kind of subtle grossness going on. And then went ahead and tracked in some blood. I wanted two things to happen. One was I wanted the wound to kind of like, I wanted blood to like seep in the wound here. And then I wanted a big drip to come out and kind of go down the leg. So I placed the elements in.
Could you gamma up a wee bit, Andy, please?
Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
yeah.
going to give
Actually,
away
can
all
you
the
turn go back?
sins.
Can you go back down? I want to
Yeah,
see that.
that's gross. But basically, like, made a good frame here. Lined everything up and then applied the motion vectors. And that way I was able to get this, like, I mean, if I can just make it brighter overall. Yeah, I had this drip of blood kind of go down the leg and stick with the leg. And then for the blood that was kind of welling up here, I believe I just animated like G masks. In fact, I'm sure of it because there they are, to kind of, contain the blood in different places and just make it feel like it was just oozing and disgusting.
Hmm.
And I think mission accomplished for that, right?
Yeah, that's crazy looking.
Yeah. But it was like, again, I wanted to do something that was disgusting, that enhanced what was there, but I didn't want to have to worry about like particle simulations and if the drop of blood separates and it lands
Hmm.
on the ground. Like I didn't want to have to deal with any of that, and this
Yeah.
I thought was a good compromise there.
Andy, do you have any tips for blend modes when it comes to comping blood? I always feel like I can never make mine look right.
No, unfortunately, no. Like I
Next
also
week
like,
on Logical.
yeah, tips for using blend modes with blood, with hopefully with Alan Lettieri. Um, I was actually having trouble. This was like early in my. This was before 8 Minute Aces was released by Randy McEntee, and I was
Oh
having
shit.
trouble. No, like because these elements were shot. They got from Action VFX. I just got the ProRes ones, so they were in Rec 709,
Yep.
and I was using color management to convert those into whatever it was, Alexa Log C, I guess. And
Yep.
I honestly, I mean, you can see here, I was wavering. In some cases, I was color correcting them. Right? Did I do that here? Yes, I was color correcting them to make them darker. I panicked and just kind of threw color correct nodes on things to get the blood to look right. But in the next shot, where there's some blood, I actually do have some. I do have some transfer mode tips and tricks. So I had to work on this
Ooh.
shot here, and this was the aftermath of a gun battle. And so we had to make it look like there was a gunfight here, and that this guy was on the ground, had been shot in the head. So, and also get rid of Sunseeker because I guess that wasn't cleared. So I went over to, I wanted to put some bullet holes in the glass here. So on Action VFX, they had a whole like free section, and one of the free sections they had was broken glass. So I downloaded all those, damn it, and then
Mm-hmm.
found all the bits and pieces that I liked. And this shot's a really, I mean, the shot's basically a 1 point track or two 1 point tracks. I did one for the truck, the camper to do the bullet holes, and then I did a 1 point track for a perspective grid to put blood on the ground. And so I'll show
Mm-hmm.
you all that. Yeah, and I got also from Action VFX an animated like pool of blood that I was going to put on that perspective grid, rotated back in space,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what would be on the street or on the
Are
ground.
they? We should. I was just looking at their website. They have got a ton of for all their subscribers. All these blood hits and bursts are free for
Yeah,
subscribers. They've got a
they have
ton of
different
stuff.
tiers,
So
like subscription tiers, and I think if you're like
yeah,
the middle tier, it's like I don't know the price, $20 a month or something. You get access
yeah,
to all that kind of stuff for free. So I
that's
placed
cool. Worth
these
looking at.
the bullet holes here, right? And these are the transfer mode for those is screen,
Mm-hmm. Did you just,
right?
so you just took that element and just screened it on?
Took that element and screened it on,
Mm-hmm.
and then just and dialed back the transparency a little bit so it kind of sat in there a little better,
Mm-hmm.
and placed a couple of those around. Excuse me. I grabbed another couple of blood spatters. There was oh, the names are great. Bloody Footprints. I grabbed Bloody Footprints from that
Mm.
collection of stills on Action VFX, and Blood Spray 6, which answers all of the unanswered questions at the end of Blood Spray 5. And put those in here on the truck. And those were here. And these actually multiplied. There you go. I got a good result here setting these to multiply. Which one is that? That's this. Yeah, if I just did straight up blend, hold on. We are in the middle of an autosave. Okay. Yeah, if I did straight up blend, I just felt that it was too pale, so I did
Yeah.
multiply, and I got like that kind of like almost the density of the blood that I liked. And then I just kind of placed a couple more on this, whatever this is, a shirt or a flag or something on the back here. And then for the blood on the floor, I wanted two things to happen. One, of course, was to put the blood on the ground, but the other was to kind of put some blood on this guy, so and on his head. So I went into somewhere here. I went into paint. There it is, and I said somewhere in here. I went into paint. Oh no, that was getting rid of Sunseeker. Hold on, I'll find it. I'll find
Show
it.
tunes.
Yes, here it is. Okay, let's stop that.
Just play yourself off.
Yes, I
And that's all we have for
I just
today.
I went into paint and I just painted along a little mat here, like along the contours of the hat, like these, especially these spikes or folds
Mm-hmm.
rather, where the hat was folded over itself, and that went into action. It was hidden on the main comp output, but it's coming out of here in one of the other outputs. Is it? No, here. No, here. Yes, there it is. And so that's what came out of action. And then I used that matte that I painted to color correct the hat to be red as well and have a little bit of a blood stain on the hat that kind of went along and helped the just help tie
Soakage.
this all together.
Yeah, that looks cool.
And that's it. That's my those are my examples.
Oh, we got a time question from John. Roughly, if you can remember how long this might have taken you and how long you maybe bid for it, or maybe how long they allowed you to do on it.
That's a really good question, John. I can look that up and send, and go. I did keep a log sheet. I don't have it with me, but I imagine it was probably like 3 hours or something like that. In all like honesty, since this was really the first time I had ever done like blood effects, I looked at this shot and figured like how long it's going to take me to do the things I know how to do, like the tracking and the logo removal and all that kind of stuff. And then you know, and then figured a couple of hours for blood, and like we'll figure, you know, and I'll kind of go, I'll go from there. The puns, by the way, are rolling in. Richard Betts says bloody good, Andy. Josh Lawrence, looks like a real headache. Thank you very much. You guys are great. All right, let me go back to all three. Well, there we go. Hey guys. Well, I hope that was fun.
I think it was.
You know, with all the free stuff that you can get, not you know, on Action VFX. If anybody's interested in trying some of this stuff, definitely head over there, download it, and give it a try. It's a lot of fun. And I want to thank them, you know, for being a sponsor. And like I said at the top, they've given me a $250 gift certificate to give away. So we are going to go ahead and do that right now. Randy's favorite part of the show.
Is it prize time?
It is prize time, ladies and gentlemen. It's Logik Live prize time. Oh, you know what? Let me just double check. This is part of the fun. Oh, here you. Yes, there were a couple more people who signed in while I was presenting. So let me go ahead and add their names to the list. Da, da, da. Okay. Very good. So I've got the list here. This is for the $250 gift certificate to Action VFX. You do need to be here in order to win this. All right, so I'm going to spin the wheel, and then between Jeff and Randy and myself, we're going to see if the person responds and says, I am here. So here we go. Let's shuffle the names up. Very exciting. And spinning away. Look at this. This never gets old. Diego, are you here? I hope so.
Hopefully.
Diego?
I don't know if I've seen him talk, but I might have missed it.
All right. Well, in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you know that actually Action VFX gave me 2 of these things here. So I'm going to spin the wheel again, and we'll see what happens with Diego. Randy, you're muted. And Mark Wellington. Congratulations, Mark.
That guy's here.
I saw you in the chat. All right. Congratulations, Mark. And we'll shuffle, and we'll do one more time. And is Carlos here? Mark, I got you. I haven't seen Carlos. Jeff, have you seen Carlos at all?
Not that I remember. Let me scroll up and double check.
All right, one more time then.
Oh, Carlos is here!
Hey!
Is he really? Hey, congratulations, Carlos! Yay! Hey, Randy, did you know that when you push the applause button, it stops the music? I just learned that. I was today years old when I learned that. And we also have our 1-year subscription to
Optics
from our friends at Boris Effects. Thank you very much. Let's spin the wheel. What's that, Randy? You missed the music? Okay. Well, Buchanan, congratulations, my friend. And we're going to do one piece of Logik merch today. It's cold out, so we're going to do a Logik hat. All right. Spin the wheel one more time. And who's that? Richard Betts. Richard Betts. Even though it's, you know what, it's warm where you are, Richard, or it's warming up, and so I'm going to give you your choice, okay? You just let me know. Thank you very much. Let's go back to the all three setup. Where are we at? All right, I want to thank my co-host Randy and Jeff for being with me today, and this was a lot of fun. I'm going to see you guys over at the patrons chat. If you want to head over there, I'll wrap up the show. All right?
We'll see you there.
Thank you, friends. Let's go back to the slideshow. Pray to God this works. Hold on, here we go. It did, I think, work. Yes. Yes, here we go. Coming up on Logik Live. There we are. Oh, thank God. Coming up on Logik Live, Sunday, November 6th at 2 p.m., Austin Campbell is going to be interviewed by our friend Amanda Elliott. On Sunday, November 13th, is going to mark the return of Naveen Srivastava from from the Vanity up in Toronto. Naveen's going to come back and do some shop breakdowns and show us some great stuff that he's working on. And then Sunday, November 20th, we are going to celebrate 100 episodes of Logik Live. It's kind of incredible to think about this little thing that started way back in March or April of 2020. And here we are,
it's still
100
little.
episodes in. And it's still not as significant as I guess it could be. Thank you, Randy, for... Randy McEntee, ladies and gentlemen.
You're welcome.
The voice in my head. So we're going to celebrate 100 episodes of Logik Live, and it's going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't signed up for the forum yet, please do at forum.logik.tv. And while you're there, head on over to the Logik Discord and come on board for that. This episode of Logik Live is going to join all of its friends over on the logik.tv website later today. We are going to have a whole bunch more episodes of the podcast coming out. Glenn Teal has been helping with the editing of the podcast, and he has taken on the mantle of being the new podcast host and recording new episodes. So we have started recording new episodes. They're going to come out much more regularly. So I want to thank Glenn for that. But if you haven't checked out Logik Podcast episode 28, Amanda's episode of the Women of Flame, please do. It was absolutely fantastic. You can get that wherever podcasts are caught. Randy, we were up to 1,566 subscribers over there on YouTube. And I think I made a page. Did I? No, I did not. What's his face? Joel Ostis is only like 1,600 something. So we got to get up. We're closer than we ever were. All right. And I have a feeling that, Randy, if we really...
I've asked Mom, and that's all I got. So,
well, Mom has neighbors, Randy. We'll get there. On it. Yes, get to it, please. If you'd like to become a patron and support what we're doing here at Logik, please head on over to patreon.com/LogikTV. We appreciate every single one of our patrons. Be sure to check out the Logik merch store, especially as the weather is turning. Make sure you're outfitted for the winter or the summer, depending on where you live. If anything's not working properly, call Jack Horrocks at jack@flametech.com.au for all your flame networking storage and custom build needs. Want to thank our friends at Action VFX again. And we do have an affiliate link live now with them. So if you do want to become a subscriber or buy anything from them, please be sure to use actionvfx.com/ref=LogikTV. That's available in the YouTube description, and it's also on the Logik website. So if you click on any of the stuff there, I updated that this morning. It'll take you right to actionvfx.com with all that stuff baked in. Well, there we go. Speaking of all that stuff baked in, Boris FX has the best plugins in the business. And if you want to get any of their stuff and save a little bit of money, enter the code Logik-2022 at checkout. Thank you, AJA, and thank you, Hot Spring, for sponsoring this episode of Logik Live. It's great to be back. It's great to see everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Happy Halloween. And patrons will see you over in Zoom in a couple minutes. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you next time. Randy, you're muted.